dirty. And we do have... Wow!
Oh no!
You gotta be kidding
Oh
me.
my goodness!
Alexander Rowe picked up where he finished last week at Darlington, and he claimed the pole position here at Gateway. But of course, he's got a lot of drivers behind him, mainly Jeffrey Finguy, the defending champion, and Nathan Stapleton, the current champion, who desperately needs to get as many points as he possibly can, because next week is Talladega. This is going to be an interesting race, which way you slice it. So, let's see what these guys are going to give us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 29 of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series. Welcome to the Energizer 300 of World Wide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Hello everybody, my name is Alexander Vitale. Before we begin, I want to give my big thank you to Nathan Stapleton for providing the logo of the race, the Energizer 300. And of course, I also want to give a shout out to the designer of the logo, which I have absolutely no idea who it is. I'm going to say Elijah Gordon, but I'm pretty sure it's not him. So thank you to both. But yeah, Alexander Rowe, second pole position in a row, and I guess the car he brought here has to be the exact same one that he had at Darlington, because as we stated the entire time in qualifying, Gateway is, for its purposes, Darlington, but with a lot less banking and run the other way around. With the higher radius corner being done first, and then the shorter corners done first, and then the high radius corners done afterwards. But yeah, speaking of Gateway can be considered a proper comeback story of the motorsports world, because it was opened up in 1997. It has hosted kart races, rather IndyCar races back in the kart days, and of course races in the NASCAR lower divisions such as the Truck Series and the then Busch Series, now Xfinity Series, to become the O'Reilly Parts Series next year. But it faced a crisis in the late 2000s, and it looked like this track was going to die. But new ownership picked it up, and it pretty much did a full-blown resurrection, now with IndyCar and even the NASCAR Cup Series hosting races to this very day. But of course, today is all about the PSRLA Cup Series, guys, and as we stated, this is going to be a very interesting race. For a lot of reasons. Let's see if Alexander Rowe is going to pull out another dominant win like he did at Darlington. Let's see if Jeffrey Finguy can actually be the one who crosses the line once the checker flag drops, avenging the defeat at Darlington. And of course, the most important thing, all the playoff drivers will have to score good points, because next week is Talladega, the final super speedway event of the year, and considering what happened at Talladega, you know, the danger is just around the corner there. But of course, we will get there once we get there. But let's focus on the task at hand, and of course, Rowe is gonna be the super favorite for the win. But of course, we got Finguy, we got Stapleton, we got Guillermo Vidal, of course, we got Andrew, we got Avery Alford, who could also be a surprise. Well, it's not exactly a surprise because he has been fast this entire playoffs. There's a good reason why he's challenging Zachary Fitzwater for best of the rest. But yeah, plenty of drivers that could potentially win this race, but my favorite is going to be Alexander Rowe. And that's how he retired on lap 1. But anyway, there's pretty much nothing else to be said, so guess what, folks? It's time for racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
The command has been given. These cars will on our track any second now, and in fact, here they are. As for qualifying, as we stated, Alexander Rowe will begin on the front row. Alongside him will be Jeffrey Finguy, and then it's Stephen Stapleton, Roberto Brown Jr., Anthony Nicol, Gary Movidel, Jonathan Carrison, Andrew Williams, Philip Torres, and Carlos Alstray rounds up the top 10. 48 laps await the drivers here. Of course, as we stated, A lot of the playoff drivers will want to gain as many points as possible. Looking forward to the race at Talladega. And the pace car is going to pull into the pits any second now, as they go for 3 and 4. And the pace car pulls into the pits. Alexander Rowe and Finguy will lead us to the green flag. And green flag is in the air. We're away at Gateway. And Alexander Rowe will lead lap number 1. That's already pulled a big gap from Nathan Stapleton. Stapleton is currently under attack by Jeffrey Finguy, as goes Movadell in an attempt to go through his teammate. Into the backtrack side by side between Crown and Movadell. And the Crown looks like to have the top speed to save their position. In fact, they do. And Movadell now has to watch himself from another of his teammates in Andrew Williams. As Movadell looked like he was going yet again on Rowe Crown Jr., but now still got to watch himself from Williams on the outside. And looks like Williams is going to take the position unless Movadell has anything to say about it. In fact, it does. In the meantime, Alpha goes through Jonathan Carrison. Now Philip Torres has got to deal with both Carrison and Carlos Ostray. As Rowe is pulling away ever so fast. He's pulling away fast from Nathan Stapleton and Jeffrey Finguy. Is half a second is the gap between Rowe and the duo behind them. They could potentially become a trio, if not a quintet, if these guys are going to be fast enough. As Movadell is defending from his teammate, and he's going to defend the position away from Andrew Williams. Now Williams has got to watch himself from both Anthony Nicol and Avery Alford. Alford, who looks like he's going on attack on Nicol on the inside of turn 4, but backs out of it. Is going to wait on an opportunity. And there goes Andrew Williams on the inside of Movadell. Williams on the inside of Movadell. Movadell has the better line. The outside line looks to be pretty good here at Gateway today. And Williams cannot complete the pass. Movadell clears his teammate, so Movadell gets to keep the position. In the meantime, there's Finguy, very aggressive on Stapleton, pretty much barges his way into Stapleton, into the exit of 4 into the main straight, but too far away for a serious attack as Rowe keeps pulling away. As now Finguy had to close the door on Rowe Crown Jr. because that attack, pretty much the failed attack, left him open for an attack on the trio of checker flag cars right behind them. As Williams now goes through Gary Movadell finally, and now he's got another teammate to deal with in Crown, and looks like he wants to deal with that immediately, especially considering these two could be pulling away. Alexander Rowe is already pulled away from the leading duo, as Williams now has got to defend this position for Movadell. The hunter now becomes the hunted, and Movadell are side by side, but Williams is still ahead, even though by half a car length. But Movadell should have the straight line speed into the backstretch. In fact, it does. But Williams is still there. Is not giving in. He's still there. They're still side by side. But now Movadell has the outside line, and Movadell can finally clear the 82 car. So he gets to keep gets to take 5th place away from Andrew Williams, who's now going to watch himself for Avery Alford. Alford, who runner, is pulling away from Anthony Nicol, Jonathan Carrison, and Philip Torres. as the gap between Rowe and Stapleton is now a second. Well, technically less than a second, but it's basically a second. And there goes Movidel on the side of his teammate in Crown into the main straight. The attack does not go well, and that could allow, and it allows Williams through, potentially allows Williams through, as the gap between Rowe and Stapleton and Finguy has shrunk down. Another 7 tenths of a hundredths of a second, as Williams is defending the position, is trying to get the position away from Movidel. But Movidel answers back, and that's probably going to allow Alfred through, as the gap has shrunk down again between Rowe and the duo behind them, which is not becoming a duo behind. It's going to be a true duo because pretty much everybody else is still battling with each other. The checkered flag cars are battling with each other, and now it's going to be a battle between 4 cars if Alfred can catch up to them and joining on the fun. As now there's Finguy once again on the inside of Stapleton into 3 and 4 into the main straight, but Stapleton should have the straight line speed. In fact, he does. Stapleton clears Finguy, so another attack, yet another attack unsuccessful. As now Alfred attacks Williams on the inside, on the outside. Williams is ahead by basically a bumper, but Alfred should have the advantage of the outside line, but no. Williams breaks harder, but they're still side by side, and Williams almost clears the free car, but Alfred, as we all saw in the last couple of races, he's a one tough customer. Is still side by side, as now the gap between Rowe and the duo behind them is now almost half a second. But now Ari Alfred has managed to overtake Andrew Williams, but Williams is still there. Of course, it's not going to give him the position without a fight, and one fight he's giving to Alfred. As Alexander Rowe is going to lead lap number 12 and start lap number 13, always in the lead. And Alfred finally clears Andrew Williams, so Ari Alfred up a spot. That should be 6th for him. Yes, it is 6th. Now, his next objective is a fellow Chevrolet driver, Igor Movidel. As Finguy finally makes clear of Nathan Stapleton, Finguy up into 2nd place. And now he's got plenty of clean air to catch up to Alexander Rowe. Unless, of course, Stapleton has anything to say about it, or any of these guys have anything to say about it. Movidel definitely has something to say about it against Alfred, as he's going to fend, as he manages to fend off an attack from the Vision Motorsports driver, who looks like he might get the championship, the Best of Race Championship lead back, considering that Fitzwater is down in 22nd. Is definitely having not having a good race right now, as the gap has shrunk down to less than half a second between Rowe and Finguy. Finguy, of course, really wants to actually win and potentially bump his championship hopes back and pump some life back into his championship hopes. As Alfred dropped out from Williams. And now Finguy has managed to pull away from Nathan Stapleton. He has caught on to Alexander Rowe. So right now, this is the battle for the lead for the first time. Somebody is trying to challenge the lead of Alexander Rowe. The gap is 2/1000 of a second, 200ths of a second, should I say more. As Movidel goes on the inside of Andrew Williams, you should have the advantage given by Alfred. They're still side by side, Movidel and Williams. And Williams is still there, but Movidel looks like he's got the advantage. In fact, it does. It clears Andrew Williams before turn 3, but Williams is back in action. As the gap between Rowe and Finguy is still basically the same. But now Movedell looks like he's going to lose the position to Alford. Alford is on the outside. But Movedell manages to keep the position, at least for now. As Finguy has pretty much caught on to Alexander Rowe. As he stated, finally, this is the first time that Rowe has been challenged. There's a race as of right now. As Movedell is on the outside of Andrew Williams. Pretty much all this fighting is allowing Niffy Stapleton to run away. In fact, 1.3 seconds is the gap between Stapleton and the fighting quartet, shall we say. As Finguy is still unable to catch up to Alexander Rowe, at least unable to mount up a possible attack on the lead of Rowe. As Crown is challenged by Andrew Williams. Challenge that looks to be already done. No, Williams is ahead by a bumper as they go out of turn 2 and into the main straight. And Williams, let's see if Williams can make the move stick. In fact, he does make the move stick on a bit of a dive bomb into free. And that's potentially going to allow Movedell through as well. And potentially even Alford. As Finguy is still chasing down Alexander Rowe, but still cannot get close enough for a serious attempt. As Alford goes side by side with Movedell, and of course then we got for the nickel, Jennifer Harrison and Philip Torres. Then we got Lana Koshmar, Carson Miller, Carlos Sostrai, Aggie Gutierrez. As Gutierrez goes for Sostrai right in what would be 13th. Then we got Duncan Ward, Trey Williams Jr., Reggie Fogelman, Zane Davidson. Zane Davidson, really poor qualifying session for him. And right now, the race is going any better. Right now, he's in 18th. Well, neither is going well for. Gutierrez is a problem. Gutierrez is a problem. Is this going to cause a caution? Gutierrez got a problem. Is this going to cause a caution? Gutierrez has got a problem. Ooh. Stop there, but they're going to keep it green. Gutierrez has got a problem, but they're going to keep it green. And this guy should have already been done, to be dealt with. So, we're going to say on the green. Which could potentially be good news for Alexander Rowe, because effectively is going to keep a small but vital gap from Finguy. As you saw there, Gutierrez is already in the pits. Gutierrez is in the pits, but will stay green. As Andrew Williams potentially using all the chaos from the Gutierrez situation, has managed to overtake everybody. And now is pulling himself away from the former leading quarter, now fighting trio. And now he's getting his sights set on Niffy Stapleton. As we're about to hit halfway through the race. Alexander Rowe has led every single lap up until this point. There goes Alford on Crown, on the outside of Crown, but Crown defends easily. And that might allow Movedell through. In the meantime, there is Anthony Nicol, Jennifer Harrison, Philip Torres, Lana Kosh, but the situation hasn't really changed. There's a lot of bagar, and there's a lot of argy-bargy, to say more, at the rear of the field, especially after Duncan Ward. There's Fogelman, there's Troy Williams Jr., there's Zane Davidson, there's Zachary Fitzwater, there's Brendan Beal, there's Bryce Egan. Plenty of playoff drivers also at the rear of the field. And of course, the rear of the field is being currently wrapped up by William Ayers and Samet Osken. As there, Philip Torres tried a move on Jennifer Harrison, but the move did not stick. And now it looks like things have gone calm. And now we're gonna go for the pits. Now they're going for the pits. Everybody's gonna dive for the pits. Alexander Rowe and Finguy will continue. Everybody's diving in the pits. So all these guys will be a lap down for sure. Actually, no, they will be a lap down, but it will be a lap down. But they should be able to lap themselves by the time both Rowe and Williams. Finguy should actually go back on track. And there we go. Alexander Rowe and Jeffrey Finguy in the pits. Gutierrez, of course, several laps down, so it's not going to be a threat. Nathan Stapleton is going to continue one more lap, and Movidel. Movidel looks like either he missed it or he's got a problem. Either he missed pit entry, he's got a problem, but he's going slow, so I think he's got a problem. No, I think he just missed pit entry. I think he just missed pit entry. So there's going to be one extra lap for Gary Movidel. Stapleton is continuing, unless he already did a stop. But I doubt he did. And now Movidel is in the pits after missing pit road. And I believe there's Alexander Rowe and Jeffrey Finguy leaving the pits as well. So right now, Rowe and Finguy are going to rejoin the track the same way they entered the pits, one ahead of the other. And of course we'll have to see who's the actually the race as we come to 20 laps to go. And I believe the race leader should still be Rowe. In fact, no. Apparently the current ticket is Movidel, but Movidel of course is in the pits, so I doubt it'll last long. As there goes Stapleton on the inside of Finguy for potentially second place. As Finguy tries to defend, but Stapleton has the better line this time, but Finguy is not giving in. Finguy has the better straight line speed, the better exit, and he clears Stapleton, so he'll keep second place. And yes, Alexander Rowe is now leading the race again, as now the situation is going back to normal. But basically, even after pit stop, the situation has now changed in terms of the top positions. Alexander Rowe still leads. Finguy second, and Stapleton is still in third, but now he's way closer to Finguy than he was in the race. Then we got Andrew Williams in the other Menards car. Of course, there's also Bradley Ream, but that's a Ford instead of a Chevrolet. And Rowe is having problems overtaking Oskin, and that allowed Finguy and Stapleton to catch back on. As Rowe looks to be finally lapping Samet Oskin. Samet Oskin is now giving trouble to Jeffrey Finguy. Potentially, they're gonna be free wide into turn 4. That's gonna be sketchy, but Finguy looks like he's going to lap Oskin without problems. And in fact, he does. And let's see if Stapleton is going to do exactly the same. And he does as well. But now all those shenanigans are going to give Alexander Rowe a big breathing room. There you go, Alexander Rowe, this Finguy. Stapleton clears Oskin. In terms of lap cars, now they got Angel Gutierrez and William Ayers next up. As Rowe leads lap number 32. He has led every single lap except that one lap in which Gary Movidel did lap. But in the meantime, we may have a battle for 6th place, for 5th place between Crown and Alford. As now Finguy is pulled away from Stapleton. Of course, Finguy will love nothing more for Rowe to hit more trouble with the lap cars of Ayers and Gutierrez, so they can close the gap immediately. as he reaches the PS car and the 45 Able Motorsports car. Alexander Rowe. And looks like he's going to make short notice of airs. Not so much for Gutierrez, but of course they're in the middle of the corner, so what people do, what was expecting, as Rowe did clear William Ayers, and now Finguy looks like he's going to do exactly the same. Of course, not much gap between Finguy and the Rowe, but Finguy Rowe has basically a human shield in Ayers. And of course, Finguy is having trouble passing said human shield. That's allowing Stapleton to catch up back to the 31 Durrani car. As Rowe is going past Gutierrez. And Finguy laps William Ayers, and so does Stapleton. Andrew Williams is dealing also with the lap car Samadaskin. There's Crown, Alford, Carrison, Nicol, Torres, and Koshbar, the top 10. And for Nicol, by the way, shout out to for Nicol. Right now he's in 8th, and if things don't go his way, that would be a top 10 position, which is actually a really impressive thing considering that he has been the worst of the Able Motorsports drivers. As you saw there, Finguy tried a move on Alexander Rowe. Alexander Rowe is having a lot more difficulties than usual to lap Gutierrez. And now Rowe is finally going to lap the 45. Let's see if Finguy is going to do exactly the same. And the answer looks to be yes. As Rowe clears the 45 car, actually shuts the door on Gutierrez. As Finguy goes through Gutierrez, potentially Stapleton as well. As Crown has a bit of a safety gap now from Avery Alford. Now Finguy has the human shield over Gutierrez between himself and Stapleton. As Gutierrez gonna shut the door on the big Staple. Now the next 2 lap cars for Road to Lap are Charlie Davenport and Tanner Parton. Then we got Gene D'Amelio and Aubrey Gardner. Of course, more opportunities for Finguy to potentially catch up to the 59 car. As we're about to come to 10 laps to go, Rowe passes Davenport, but no problems, and potentially even Parton. And he does, as Finguy settles behind Davenport for some reason. I guess they don't have momentum to actually, make the pass. As now Rowe has 2 human shields instead of 1 for Finguy. But looks like Finguy is not gonna give too much of a care in the unless Stapleton is going to clear Gutierrez, and right now he's having a lot of difficulties doing so as Finguy clears Tanner Parton, but he's losing a lot of time. Let's see the gap. 1.2 seconds is the gap, so he's lost a lot of time. We have 9 laps to go here at Gateway. We have been caution-free this entire race. As of right now, let's check out the standing as the playoff drivers. Of course, Finguy is a second and the highest of the playoff drivers. Then we got Stapleton in 3rd, Williams in 4th, Crown Jr. in 5th. Then we got Carrison in 8th, in 7th. Koshmar in 9th, Torres in 8th, Torres in, okay, well, I'm confusing myself. Koshmar in 8th, Torres in 9th, Movidel is down in the top 10, he's in 11th. Zane Davidson actually managed to recover up to 12th place, so good race for the Solarius driver. As, looks like... Oh no! Abigardner's got a problem. Abigardner's got a problem. That's gonna cause a caution for sure. That's gonna cause a caution for sure. Is slowing down in the middle of the track. That's gonna cause a caution. In fact, caution is out. Caution is indeed out. Caution is out. Due to problems from due to problems with Gardner's car, and of course that's amazing news for Jeffrey Finguy, because now he's going to catch up to the pace car in the lead. There's Gardner in the pits. And as the field reconvenes, let's check the replay to see what caused the first caution of the race. Caution number 1. And we are looking at R.B. Gardner, and his car pretty much starts slowing down dramatically in the middle of 3 and 4. The car clearly has a problem, not big enough to completely stop his car dead, but serious enough that it causes a major jam pack, and it also involves leader Alexander Rowe, that essentially allowed Jeffrey Finguy through, thanks to the sudden slowdown of R.B. Gardner. There's Finguy coming in. He swoops to the outside, taking the lead away from Alexander Rowe, as Rowe finally manages to get out of the way of R.B. Gardner, as D'Amelio almost crashes into Carrison and his teammate Ted Parton, but also manages to get out of the way. But of course, there's a slow car in the middle of the track, so of course the caution was pretty much inevitable. Watching it in real time, and this is the moment the car starts slowing down. The car develops the issue. It involves Rowe. Through goes Finguy, Stapleton, and of course the rest of the leaders. Through goes Ayers, through go Roberto Crown Jr. and all the other cars. There's also Jonathan Carrison, who also slows down dramatically to avoid contact with Gardner, and the checker flag, and sure, the yellow flag is already out. But still, the car is still going under its own power, so at least Gardner can finish the race. And with that, let's go back trackside. And we're back live here at Gateway for the running of the Energizer 300. We're coming out of the first caution as everybody is trying to settle back down. Of course, we got a bit of a situation here. It's going to be a 2 laps sprint to the finish, as everybody is trying to get past the lapped cars. And looks like this is going to be a battle between Jeffrey Finguy and F. Stapleton for the win. As these two guys are going side by side, as is the rest of the field. They're trying to catch up. Let's see if they're gonna make that one count. As the pace car pulls into the pits, are they going to wave the green flag? And doesn't look like. No, there will be one more caution, because of course everybody needs to catch up. So they're not gonna go green. We will have one more lap under caution, because of course everybody has to catch up to the leaders. As the pace car is actually having some struggle to get back on the track. The pace car... Did the pace car... There we go, there we go. And now the problem is... What is going to happen? There's the pace car going through all the drivers. The driver goes side by side. And this looks like to be a one-shot lap for the win. As all the cars drop down back to the positions. Unless we're actually gonna end the race on the caution. And the white flag is in the air, so it looks like we're actually going to finish the race on the caution. So Jeffrey Finguy looks to have won the race in the weirdest way possible. If results stay as they are, Jeffrey Finguy has officially won the race on the caution. Now talk about a weird finish. And Jeffrey Finguy is going to win a gateway like this on the caution. Second is going to be Nathan Stapleton. Then is Alexander Rowe in third. Then is Andrew Williams in fourth. Then is Roberto Crown Jr., Leonard Koshmar, Jonathan Carrison, Anthony Nicol, and Philip Torres in sixth, and rounding out the top 10. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a result that's going to be discussed a lot. Of course, everybody's gonna dive back into the pits because, of course, the race is over. as Finguy gets into his pit box. And confirmation that Jeffrey Finguy has won the Energizer 300. Second alongside him will be Nathan Stapleton. Third is going to be Alexander Rowe. Then we got Andrew Williams, Avery Alford, Roberto Brown Jr., Lara Koshmer, Jonathan Carrison, Anthony Nicol, and Philip Torres rounding up the top 10. Of course, thanks to the caution, thanks to the nature of the late caution, only 4 cars on the lead lap. Then we got Brett Reeves, Oscar Darby Gardner 2 laps down, and Gutierrez 4 laps down. But yeah, I honestly have no idea how to describe what just happened. I guess I could find a explanation as to what happened, but yeah, I absolutely have no clue what just happened. Which is saying something considering all the weird stuff that we've seen this entire year, but this one definitely takes the cake. But yeah, so Jeffrey Finguy claims yet another win as the pace car continues on, as you can see there. A bit of a funny image, but still, a win is a win, even though Stapleton didn't gain as much as probably what I wanted from Stapleton, because guess what, Stapleton finished right next to him. But still, again, as I said, good points. A good chunk of the drivers at the higher portion, a good chunk of the drivers at the higher positions of the playoffs needed good results, because next race is Talladega, and only God knows what's going to happen there. So, yeah, I guess on that part, everybody can be considered satisfied with how the race went, and of course with the result. But with that, let's check out the standings to see the updated. Let's check out the standings to see what the situation in the standings looks like after this race. And we're back live here at Gateway for the Energizer 300 that has just finished. As for the championship standings, Nathan Stapleton still leads the way, but now Jeffrey Finguy climbs up to second place, 12 points behind the championship leader. Third is now Jonathan Carrison, 14 points behind Stapleton. Then it's Dane Davidson, Andrew Williams, Gary Movedell, Roberto Brown Jr., Lara Koshmer, Philip Torres, Bryce Seeger, Reggie Fogelman, and Troy Williams Jr. rounding up the 12 playoff drivers. And Avery Alford is now back into the lead of the Best of the Race Championship, only 2 points behind, only 2 points clear of Zachary Fitzwater. And I believe the biggest winner are Duncan Ward and Jack Haas with 2 positions gained. Duncan Ward is now in 29th and Jack Haas is now in 41st. And the biggest losers are basically all who lost a position. So Carrison, Torres, Williams Jr., Fitzwater, Ryan Little, Luke Evans, Skep Silver, and of course Nia Marinacci. But Marinacci hasn't showed up is not driving anymore, and Samuel Oskan also lost the position. But yeah, I have I got absolutely no clue what to say after what happened. But yeah, again, this is something considering all the weird stuff that we've seen this year. But yeah, this one takes the cake, and only God knows what's going to happen at Talladega. But of course, we're gonna tackle that once we get there. But from Gateway, this is going to be it. This has been a special presentation of the 2025 PSRLA Cup Series 44/7 Network. I'm Alexander Vitale, and see you next week for round 30 of the championship at Talladega Super Speedway. So long, everybody. From Gateway, versus again to Jeffrey Finguy.